The sky turned a deep shade of red as the ships descended from the heavens. Each one carried the mark of the Draconians. Their sleek metallic forms reflected the dying light of the sun as they cast ominous shadows over the city below. People scattered like ants, trying to avoid the inevitable. The invasion was silent yet deafening. Their presence alone was enough to crush hope. The air seemed heavier, the ground seemed colder, and the world felt smaller. In the center of the city stood a man named Kieran. He had watched this unfold every month. The Draconians would arrive. They would extract what they needed, and they would leave. He clenched his fists as he watched his neighbors being ushered into the towering metallic structures. They were the harvest chambers. No one ever returned from them, and no one knew exactly what happened inside. Kieran had asked questions. He had searched for answers, but the truth was always elusive. The Galactic Federation claimed that this arrangement was necessary. They spoke of balance, they spoke of peace, but Kieran could not see the peace. All he saw was submission. All he felt was anger. Yet no one was allowed to resist. The Federation enforced their laws with an iron fist. Any rebellion was swiftly crushed. Kieran's mind raced with thoughts of defiance as he walked through the deserted streets. He passed by the remnants of what was once a vibrant market. Now it was nothing but ash and silence. He remembered the laughter of children, the smell of fresh bread, the hum of life. All of it was gone, stolen by the Draconians and sanctioned by the Federation. He reached his small apartment on the outskirts of the city. Inside was a collection of forbidden relics, books, devices, maps of the galaxy. All were items deemed illegal by the Federation. He had spent years gathering them in secret, and now he stared at them as if they held the answers he so desperately sought. He picked up a small device. It was an old communicator, outdated and unreliable, but still functional. He activated it. A voice crackled through. It was faint, it was distorted, but it was there. "We are out here. We are waiting. We will fight." Kieran's heart raced. He had heard rumors of a resistance. People who refused to accept the Federation's rule. People who fought against the Draconians. He had never believed them. Until now, he spoke into the device. "I want to join. Tell me what to do." The voice responded with instructions, coordinates, a time, and a warning. If you are caught, the Federation will not show mercy. Kieran knew the risks, but he also knew that living in submission was no life at all. He gathered his things, he left his apartment, and he made his way to the outskirts of the city. The coordinates led him to an abandoned warehouse. Inside were others like him, men and women with fire in their eyes and scars on their souls. They greeted him with cautious optimism. The leader of the group was a woman named Lyra. She spoke with authority. She spoke with conviction. She explained their mission. They aimed to disrupt the Draconian operations, to sabotage the harvest chambers, to send a message to the Federation. Kieran listened intently. For the first time in years he felt hope. Over the next few weeks Kieran trained with the resistance. They taught him how to fight, how to hack into Federation systems, how to survive. He learned quickly. He became one of them, and he earned their trust. Together they planned their first mission. It was dangerous, it was bold, but it was necessary. They would infiltrate a harvest chamber. They would uncover its secrets, and they would destroy it. The night of the mission arrived. Kieran and the others moved through the city under the cover of darkness. They reached the towering structure. Its surface was smooth and cold. Its presence was menacing. They found an access point. They entered. Inside was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers. The air was thick with an unnatural energy. They moved cautiously. They avoided detection. And they reached the core of the structure. What they saw was beyond comprehension. The Draconians were not feeding off of resources or materials. They were feeding off of life itself. The chambers were filled with glowing orbs. Each one contained the essence of a person, their memories, their emotions, their very being. Kieran felt a surge of rage. This was not balance. This was not peace. This was theft on a cosmic scale. They planted the explosives. They set the timer. And they made their escape. The explosion was deafening. The structure collapsed in on itself. The Draconians would know that humanity was no longer passive. The Federation would know that resistance was alive. As they regrouped outside the city, Kieran felt a sense of triumph. But he also knew that this was just the beginning. The Draconians would retaliate. The Federation would tighten its grip. But he was ready. They were ready. The fight for freedom had begun. And it would not end until humanity was truly free. The sky turned black as more ships descended. The war had begun, and Kieran stood at the forefront. He was no longer a bystander. He was a warrior, and he would fight until his last breath. The resistance grew stronger with each passing day. News of their defiance spread across the planet. Others joined their cause. Entire cities rose in rebellion. The Draconians unleashed their full might. The Federation deployed its forces. The battles were brutal. The losses were great. But humanity refused to yield. Kieran became a symbol of the resistance. His name was whispered in the darkest corners of the galaxy. He led mission after mission. He destroyed harvest chambers. He disrupted supply lines. He fought with a ferocity that inspired those around him. Yet he knew that victory would not come easily. The turning point came when the resistance discovered the location of the Draconian command center. It was a massive structure orbiting a distant planet. It was heavily guarded. It was impenetrable. But it was also the key to their survival. If they could destroy it, they could cripple the Draconian operations. They could force the Federation to reconsider its alliance. Kieran and his team prepared for the final mission. They knew it was a suicide mission, but they also knew it was their only chance. They boarded a stolen Federation ship. They navigated through enemy lines, and they reached the command center. The battle was fierce. They fought their way through endless waves of Draconian soldiers. They planted explosives at critical points, and they made their way to the core of the structure. Kieran faced the Draconian leader, a towering figure with eyes that burned like fire. They fought with everything they had. Kieran was wounded, but he refused to back down. With a final surge of strength, he struck the killing blow. The command center began to collapse. Kieran and his team barely escaped. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. The Draconian fleet was thrown into disarray. The Federation forces retreated. Humanity had won. The cost was staggering. Cities lay in ruins. Millions had perished. But the chains of oppression had been broken. The resistance stood victorious, and Kieran stood among them, blooded but unbowed. He looked up at the sky. It was no longer red. It was no longer black. It was clear. The galaxy would remember this day. The day humanity rose from the ashes. The day they reclaimed their freedom. And the day they began to build a future of their own making.